Hello and good morning from the Hokendauqua Creek. We are in Northampton, Pennsylvania today, Northampton Borough in Northampton County. And a couple of cool things I just wanted to highlight here. Now with the foliage being as green as it is, I'm hitting the rail trails and looking for whatever cool stuff is along rail trails. So off of the D&L rail trail, which I'm sure quite a bit of you are familiar with, which is actually not this bridge, but there's a little bridge on the other side of that where we're heading to. That's where we're at today. We're all along the D&L, at least for this particular video. This bridge here is kind of a combination bridge. So for those of you who are familiar with the history, or if you follow the channel, the Lehigh and Susquehanna Railroad was a subsidiary of the Lehigh Coal Navigation Company, or the Lehigh Canal. And they built a railroad. Well, they built an original railroad back in the 1830s, but that was way up north, up in the Whitehaven area. They didn't make their way down to this area until the 1860s or so. And at that point, they had control of the Lehigh and Susquehanna Railroad and the Lehigh Coal Navigation Company. They were both under the same umbrella. In 1871, the Central Railroad of New Jersey would lease the Lehigh and Susquehanna, and it would essentially become their main line. And they would operate that until, I believe it was 1971, maybe a little earlier than that when they went out. I always stumble on that date. Anyway, so construction of this particular span right here, if you see the stacked stone, I'm going to zoom in real quick. The stacked stone is original to the Lehigh and Susquehanna, but in 1900, as I'll show you right now, see that there? That says the Central Railroad of New Jersey, 1900. So the Central Railroad of New Jersey eventually took over this line, and they replaced this span in 1900 with this concrete double arch. Now, I'm not sure what the story is with this arch over here. That's now a road underpass. May have been just one large bridge at one point when first built by the Lehigh and Susquehanna. Always thought this was rather interesting, and I thought the date stamps were pretty sweet. So we'll actually make our way back around and we'll end the video so we can get a better look at this date stamp up here. But the real reason I'm actually standing in the creek is because back this way are the remains of an aqueduct. I've been trying to do my due diligence with getting the information that I want about said aqueduct, and it's being a little bit elusive, not too much. From what I understand, Lehigh Coal Navigation, or Lehigh Canal, had 4 aqueducts on their lower division. I don't know if they had any at all in the upper division. Upper division essentially was Jim Thorpe to Whitehaven. Lower division was Jim Thorpe to Easton. Now the upper division of the Lehigh Canal didn't last all that long in the grand scheme of things. The lower division, that ran until well into the 1900s, 1930s or 40s if I'm not mistaken. Had a pretty good lifespan. So the 4 aqueducts that I believe existed along the lower division were the Birch Creek Aqueduct, which I have pictures of, but we've never really done a video of. I can't believe I'm going to try to say this name again. I'll probably screw it up. The Aqueductua Aqueduct, which is up near Palmerton. We recently were at that one. And then there's the Monocacy Creek Aqueduct, which is south of here, which I have not been to yet. So today we're going to look at what I believe is the remains, or the cribbing, I should say, of the Hokendauqua Creek Aqueduct. So what the interweb is telling me is that 1829 is when the Monocacy Creek Aqueduct was built. I'm not exactly sure when this one may or may not have been built, but I'm also thinking that this could possibly be a replacement and that the original one may have washed out. The reason I say that is because there's concrete poured into the remains of some of the cribbing here, which we know concrete wouldn't have been used in the mid 1800s, early 1800s. But if they had to do any kind of patchwork after 1900 or so, here's our first one right here. You can see that there's some rudimentary concrete poured into this cribbing right here. And there's also pretty good plate steel on the cribbing as well. So I believe that this particular aqueduct is probably reinforced or replaced at one time. But again, I'm not 100% sure on that. So right here, this is plate steel, and we got our wooden cribbing here. There's a little bit of stack stone around. This is a replacement bridge, obviously, for the D&L trail now. That's a road bridge right there. So the cribbing up here actually is a lot more noticeable. That's the Lehigh River right there. Hokendauqua Creek runs out into the Lehigh. We have some stack stone over here we'll go check out. So I believe that this was all a large aqueduct in this area at one time. Now the canal here starts, well, the canal section started at Dam 5, which is a couple miles to the north upriver. And we've actually been there recently too. And it creates a rather large section of canal that ran from Dam 5 to exit lock 35, which is south of us in Aqueducts, possibly North Aqueducts. But this is what's left of said aqueduct over the Hokendauqua Creek. It's a little fascinating piece of history right here. We got some stack stone over here that I believe is original to the aqueduct. Of course, I can't verify, but we're pretty sure. And we'll take a walk back over here, look at some other stack stone. So what's interesting about this one, as compared to the Birch Creek Aqueduct, has a decent amount of stone left. But from what I've noticed, and I have to go back and inspect it a little better, I never noticed any cribbing there. Just the stone. They actually had a stone pillar, which essentially, I mean, there wasn't one here that I know of, but it would have been right in the middle of that aqueduct back at the Birch Creek area. We'll have to get down and check that one out one day. Now that it's super warm and the water's kind of gotten a little lower, we can probably get in there. But as you can see, this is all got concrete in here. That's not mud, that's concrete. So it's my speculation that was poured as a reinforcement at some point to strengthen the aqueduct. And then more stacked stone right over there. We can try to get over there without breaking our necks, I think. And then we'll quick take a run up and check out the date stamp on that bridge. Okay, success. Yeah, not much remains. A little bit of concrete over top. Again, this section of canal, the southern section, lasted well into the 1930s. Possibly even the 40s. I believe that they continued to send canal traffic down to Easton, where it then linked up with the Delaware Canal, Pennsylvania's Delaware Canal. get you a shot of the old CNJ bridge too while we're walking back up. The other CNJ bridge, the Copley Spur, which we've covered in detail many times. And what's neat right now is with the river being so low, you can, here, let me zoom in. So the deck girder span is a replacement. The bridge was washed out, I think in the 40s, and they replaced the trusses with a deck girder. But some of the wreckage from that is in the river just beyond that bridge, actually creating kind of a little low head dam kind of area. You can see it real well, but that's not for today. More stacked stone here, which I do believe is part of the aqueduct construction, but not 100% sure. So, all right, let's go check out that date stamp since I've been taking up enough of your time. Again, I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at this moment right here, but I'm leaning towards this being part of the aqueduct construction. Okay. Again, this is now the D&L Trail, which is mostly built on, but not solely, but mostly built on the Lehigh Coal Navigation towpath through this area especially. And then there's sections where it's built on the former Lehigh Valley Railroad main line. I think after this video, we're gonna stay here in Northampton. We're gonna go check out an old coal dump that I stumbled across yesterday along the Norbath Rail Trail, which is short for Northampton and Bath Railroad, which was a connecting line which actually broke right off around this area. Broke off of, well, it junctioned, I guess you could say, with both the CNJ and the Lehigh in New England. And I also believe it was the main rail provider for the Atlas Cement Company. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, so we'll just stop with that for the moment. So I'll take another look at these aqueduct remains from up here. And we'll quickly go check out this date stamp. So again, no major discoveries here, but just areas I've wanted to document. And it's just impossible to really get into the woods and find abandoned stuff right now. So I'm gonna take the low-hanging fruit that's available to me. Just always thought this date stamp was a little fancier than other ones. There you have her. Hang on, sorry. Central Railroad of New Jersey, 1900. Take a walk through real quick. That section over there is pretty neat. I'm thinking at one point this was a wooden trestle. See all that stonework there. And then in 1900, for whatever reason, the CNJ put some concrete on it. One more look at this side. All right, folks, thanks. I'll see you in the next one.